We think we know Jack Nicholson, the Hollywood icon with that famous smirk. But behind the glitz and glamour lies a little-known tragedy, a shocking revelation about his origins that shaped his life. This story isn't just surprising, it also reveals a deeply human side of a legend, something no one ever talks about. Childhood and career beginnings. Jack Nicholson, born in 1937 in New York, had what seemed like an ordinary childhood, growing up in Neptune City, New Jersey. He was raised by his grandmother, Ethel Mae Nicholson, and the woman he always believed was his biological mother, June Frances Nicholson, a showgirl. In young Jack's eyes, it was a normal, harmonious family, with no hint of a shocking secret that would later completely change his perception of his origins. In the 1950s, Nicholson, with ambition and natural charisma, decided to move to Los Angeles to pursue his cinematic dream. His early path wasn't easy. He started with odd jobs at MGM, from mailroom clerk to uncredited bit parts. His first foray into acting was in low-budget films, often B-movie horrors like The Cry Baby Killer, 1958, or collaborations with producer Roger Corman. This was a period where Jack honed his skills, learned about the industry, and built his first connections. Nicholson's career began to make significant strides in the late 1960s. He gradually shed the B-actor label and found his place in the rising wave of independent, counterculture films. His breakthrough role in the classic film Easy Rider, 1969, completely changed the game. With his portrayal of George Hanson, a drunken yet insightful lawyer, Jack Nicholson not only received his first Oscar nomination, but also became the face of a new generation of Hollywood, unconventional, edgy, and full of personality. This role transformed him from a little-known actor into a sought-after star overnight. After Easy Rider, Nicholson's path to stardom became wide open. He consistently made a powerful impression on critics and audiences alike with a series of complex, introspective roles in outstanding works. These included the rebellious but vulnerable Robert Dupieux in 5 Easy Pieces, 1970, and the cynical detective Jake Gitz in the classic film noir Chinatown, 1974. However, the pinnacle of his career arrived in 1975 with his role as Randall McMurphy in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. This masterful performance earned him his first Oscar for Best Actor and cemented the image of a defiant, eccentric yet charismatic icon in the minds of global audiences. Jack Nicholson firmly established his status not only as a talented actor, but also as a unique cinematic personality, with his signature smirk and versatile ability to inhabit roles ranging from humorous to insane, from romantic to brutal. His flourishing career transformed him into a living legend, but precisely at this brilliant moment, a secret from the past was unexpectedly revealed. The tragedy that defined his life. However, even when his career was at its dazzling peak, admired by the entire world, a terrible truth about his identity suddenly emerged, exposing a family secret that had been hidden for decades. This tragedy didn't stem from the limelight or professional failures, but from the very depths of Jack Nicholson's own origins. In 1974, when Jack Nicholson was already one of Hollywood's most sought-after superstars, a journalist from Time magazine was working on an article about him. During the information-gathering process, the journalist unexpectedly discovered a shocking truth. The people Jack had always thought were his mother and sister were actually his grandmother and biological mother. Specifically, June Frances Nicholson, whom Jack called his mother, was in fact his biological mother. And Ethel Mae Nicholson, whom he believed to be his grandmother, was actually his adoptive mother who had raised him since childhood. June gave birth to Jack when she was just 17, out of wedlock. To avoid scandal and ensure a stable life for the child, June and her mother, Ethel, agreed to keep this a secret. Jack was raised as Ethel's son, and June was introduced as his sister. When this information was revealed, The shock was indescribable. Jack Nicholson, the resilient and defiant man on screen, was completely stunned. He stated that he experienced a state of disbelief, a feeling of severe shock so intense that it was difficult to process. Imagine your entire life built on a foundation you believed to be true, only for it to completely collapse in an instant. This event was not merely an informational shock, but a deep identity crisis. What's particularly poignant is that June and Ethel had both passed away by the time this secret was exposed, in 1963 and 1970, respectively. This meant Jack never had the opportunity to confront them directly, to hear explanations from the very women who were most important in his life. The pain and doubt were likely compounded by his inability to find complete answers from their source. This truth forced Jack to re-examine his entire childhood, family, and himself under a completely new light, full of questions and haunting implications. The impact of the tragedy. Discovering this shocking truth dealt a heavy blow to Jack Nicholson, leaving profound personal and psychological impacts. Suddenly, his entire memory and understanding of his family were turned upside down. The person he always believed was his mother turned out to be his grandmother, and his close sister was, in fact, his biological mother. This change was not merely a relabeling of relationships, but a serious identity crisis. He had to confront the most fundamental questions: who am I? Where do I come from? And has what I've believed all this time been true? This tragedy undoubtedly affected Nicholson's personal relationships, especially with the images of his biological mother, June, and his adoptive grandmother, Ethel, in his mind. Although both had passed away, discovering this secret may have created an unfillable void, a complexity in his feelings and perceptions of the people who shaped his childhood. There might have been a mix of gratitude for being raised, confusion about the concealment, and sadness for never having the chance to speak frankly with them. It's difficult to say precisely how this tragedy directly impacted his acting career. However, it's undeniable that Jack Nicholson is renowned for his deeply introspective, complex roles, sometimes portraying characters with turbulent inner lives or those haunted by the past. Experiencing such a major personal shock may have enriched his emotional life experience, helping him delve deeper into the darker, more vulnerable and intricate aspects of human nature in his performances. It might have given him a unique perspective on lies, concealment, and truth, elements that frequently appear in the classic films he was part of. What's surprising is that this profound personal tragedy of Jack Nicholson is little known and widely discussed by the public. This is partly due to the private and sensitive nature of the story, involving family honor in an era where such issues were often hidden. Furthermore, Nicholson's brilliant career and his rebellious, flamboyant personality may have overshadowed this story. He was also a relatively private person about his personal life, especially after confronting the truth. He chose to handle it discreetly, not turning it into a public spectacle. In a Hollywood world full of personal tragedies, Nicholson's story is a reminder that even the biggest stars carry silent, rarely revealed burdens. Resilience and legacy. Facing such a heartbreaking truth, Jack Nicholson displayed remarkable resilience. Instead of letting this tragedy engulf him, he chose to accept it and continue with his life and career. He once shared that he felt no anger or betrayal, but rather gratitude for the women who raised him. For Jack, it was a reminder of the complexity of life and the love within families, even if it takes unexpected paths. Jack Nicholson's story offers many valuable lessons. First, it reminds us that no one is perfect, not even the greatest icons. Behind the stage lights are always real people with personal pains, secrets, and scars. Second, truth, no matter how painful, must be faced. The way Jack accepted his past shaped who he is, not in a negative way, but in a way that helped him become deeper and more courageous. Finally, This is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, the ability to overcome the greatest shocks to continue living and contributing. Looking back at Jack Nicholson's legacy from this new perspective, his image becomes more complex and profoundly human than ever. He is not only an extraordinarily talented actor who delivered unforgettable performances to cinema, but also a person who experienced deep personal tragedy. These very experiences, though concealed, may have contributed to the emotional depth, intensity, and distinctive personality in each of his roles. This tragedy does not diminish Jack Nicholson's greatness. On the contrary, it makes him a more vivid and authentic legend than ever. The tragedy of Jack Nicholson's origins, the shocking truth that the mother he believed was actually his grandmother, and his close sister was his biological mother, is a surprising and little-known personal story. It was not just an informational shock, but a deep identity crisis, forcing one of history's greatest actors to re-examine his entire life. However, instead of crumbling, Jack Nicholson faced the truth with a resilient spirit. His story reminds us that even the most brilliant icons carry hidden burdens, and that truth, though painful, is an indispensable part of shaping who we are. This tragedy not only enriches Jack Nicholson's image, but also confirms that he is not just an outstanding artist, but an extraordinary human being with incredible inner strength. What else do we not know about the icons we admire? What are you curious about? Let us know in the comments below this video. If you found this story interesting and want to discover more secrets and unexpected facets of famous personalities, or simply love insightful and unique content, please support our channel by hitting the subscribe button and turning on notifications. Your support is a huge motivation for us to continue bringing you more fascinating stories and in-depth analyses.